I rise today to add my contribution following the tabling of the Royal Commission's final report into defence and veteran suicide. Today is a significant day. It's a call to action. I know today will also be a very difficult day for many in the defence and veterans community, particularly those who have lost a loved one. And I wanted to make acknowledgement of Julianne Finney, who's here today in the gallery, mum of a veteran, son, David. The immeasurable grief of losing a loved one to suicide is heartbreaking. It's a pain that cannot be described. The government, the Albanese government, first called for a Royal Commission when we were in opposition back in December 2019, something that I was very proud to support and champion for some time in this place. And as a member of the government, a federal government that has to take responsibility for the actions committed by any government in previous years, I'd like to thank the many veterans, those serving and family members who are courageously sharing the experiences of the Royal Commission today and who have done so over some time throughout the course of the Royal Commission. I do want to acknowledge briefly the Royal Commissioners, the Chair, Nick Caldas, AMP, the Honourable James Douglas, KC, and Dr Penny Brown, AO, for their work since the Royal Commission was established back in July 2021. Throughout this time, the Royal Commission conducted 12 public hearing blocks containing 340 witnesses, 900 private sessions and over 5,800 submissions. Stories, personal stories from veterans and their families, the impact that suicide has had on them and their family. The Royal Commission has presented its final report, as the Minister has now tabled, with 122 recommendations over 7 volumes to address the cultural and systemic issues that current and former ADF members face. And the government will now work through the recommendations in a way that I will hope have bipartisanship, in fact the support of the whole chamber here, because we have an obligation to step up and fix the wrongs of the past. In August 2022, the Royal Commission released its interim report. Back then it also made 13 recommendations, and I'm happy to say that the Albanese government has taken action on all 13. The interim report recommended a simplification of veteran compensation legislation. The government has taken on the challenge by putting forward the most significant improvements to the veteran compensation system in a century. The bill before the Senate, the Veterans Entitlements Treatment and Support Simplification Harmonisation Bill 2024, was introduced in the Parliament in July. And under this bill, all new compensation claims from 1 July 2026 will be handled under one single piece of legislation, regardless of when or where a veteran served. The Senate Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Legislation Committee, which I chair, has been undertaking an inquiry into the bill since it was referred on the 4th of July of this year. And the committee has held a public hearing on the 16th of August here at Parliament House, and will continue to have further insight and investigation into the bill as the matter progresses through the appropriate committee stages. The proposed reforms will make it easier for veterans and their families to understand what they're entitled to and allow DVA to process claims quicker. And this year's federal budget set aside an extra $222 million for veteran and family entitlements across the 2 years from the start of this legislation. I'm proud of the work of the Albanese government is taking to address veteran services, entitlements and wellbeing, but we know that there is a lot more to be done. Our ultimate objective here is to ensure that defence personnel, veterans and their families are well looked after and that they receive the care that they need and deserve. A fortnight ago, Minister for Veterans Affairs was in Melbourne for a public forum on the bill, and as he has done in different parts of the country. It was a privilege to join him and many other veterans at the information session in Hawthorn and hear firsthand the experiences from veterans in attendance. And I want to thank each and every one of them who made the effort to come to the public forum. The government is committed to a thorough and considered process which will deliver better outcomes for veterans and their families, because it is the right thing to do. And since coming to office, Federal Labor has been working to improve the welfare of our defence personnel and veterans and their families. And I'd like to take a moment to pay tribute to Australia's current ADF personnel who have pledged service to defend our great nation and its national interests. For anyone who might be listening to this debate today or reading through the Royal Commission's report, it is important to remember that there is support out there. There are services that do provide support 24/7, whether it be Lifeline on 13 11 14, Open Arms Veterans and Family Counselling on 1800 011 046. But also seek support from your mates, your comrades, your local RSLs, many other organisations, people who you can trust. If there is an issue, please speak out, talk to someone. The Royal Commission is a step forward and is the first step that the government is keen to challenge and to make sure that we fix those wrongs of the past. The government will now consider the recommendations presented by the Royal Commission, and I look forward to working with fellow senators across the board, because we have an obligation. We have an obligation here in the Senate to ensure that each and every one of our veterans, current and former, deserve our support. We want to see people in the ADF have a successful career. They need to have a place that everyone can feel safe in, from the time that they join to when they transition to civilian life. And Acting Deputy President, I want to commend the work of our commissioners again and say thank you for the government for their support and to the support across the board here in this place for the establishment of that Royal Commission, and I look forward to discussing the recommendations with our veterans community over the coming months and weeks ahead. Thank you.